Yo, what's up? We're back, and this week it's for a fun card. Derek Brunson versus Edmen Shahbazyan, and we've been doing pretty good lately. We've hit a couple parlays of the week. We did well on the Bellator card as well last week, so looking to continue that trend here with this event here, and a few events or a few fights that I do like matchup wise as well. But we're gonna get right into the card, so just make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and all that. Thanks for always supporting the channel. But the first fight of the night is Chris Gutierrez versus Cody Durden, which is a pretty good fight. Gutierrez, obviously, he's found his footing in the UFC. He had a really good performance his last time. He finished Vince Morales with those leg kicks, man. That was pretty brutal. He's won 3 fights in a row, so that's a pretty good streak. And he was supposed to be getting a higher-ranked opponent, I believe. I can't remember exactly who. Or it was Luke Sanders, so really wasn't. I'm not sure why he was fighting someone that low level on a 3-fight win streak, but he's getting a guy making his debut in Cody Durden. But Durden's pretty tough, and he took the call on short notice here, and he's riding a 7-fight win streak, and he's won some fights in boxing and kickboxing, and he's fresh off of a destruction of John Sweeney, man. He beat him in less than a minute just 2 weeks ago. Didn't even take a shot, so he should be in shape. He should be confident, ready to go. And as a striker, he has good forward pressure. He switches stances. He does have some, like I said, boxing and kickboxing matches, and he's very aggressive. Nice jab, body, head. He'll close the distance with some straights. He'll attack the body. Big hooks. He'll throw nice left hooks to the body to straight rights, or left hooks to overhand rights. Nice hooks, uppercuts inside. Good low leg kicks, and he's always coming forward. He's staying in your face. He doesn't give you a chance to breathe, and he will throw some spins. He'll attack, some flying knees to try to close the distance. And in this fight, I do see him trying to rely on his wrestling the entire time, really heavily rely on it. But he can crack, and he's not on the level technically of a guy like Gutierrez, but he's a dog. He pressures forward. He hits hard, and, his style with the grappling makes it, a decent matchup on the feet, I believe. And Durden, he does have 5 career knockouts, mostly on the ground though, and he's mainly a grappler. He's very good wrestling. He'll shoot some nice singles, nice doubles. He's very good at exchanging a little bit, baiting you, and then just ducking under, hitting the level change, taking you down. He's strong in the clinch. He's explosive, and he's going to be able to take guys down at the UFC level, especially at his weight class of 125. But on top, he's very aggressive. He's good at passing. He throws hard ground and pound. Pretty good control. His submission defense looks a little bit questionable at times. He can leave his neck in there to be, guillotined. I've seen him, give up his back before. But on top, he's very good. He's a back taker, and when he takes the back, he has great rear naked chokes, big ground and pound. I've seen him slam guys, choke them out, or slam guys and knock them out, and he's a very aggressive guy, both on the feet and on the ground. He does have good scrambling ability, and when you take him down or you sweep him, he can stand up from bottom pretty well. And he has 5 submissions, and he was submitted in 2018 with the rear naked choke against a 12-13 fighter, which I don't know what happened there, but since then he has won 7 fights in a row, and he trains at ATT Atlanta, which has good jiu-jitsu guys like Juan Carnero, the Lima brothers, Anthony Rocco Martin. So his jiu-jitsu should be improving, and he looks like a beast, man. I mean, very aggressive, tough fighter. And it's an interesting matchup to me because everyone's hyped on Chris Gutierrez because of his last fight. I think that, that has a lot more to do with Morales giving Gutierrez the exact fight he wanted. Within 1 minute of the fight, Morales' leg was hurt, and he was just sitting on the outside. He wasn't doing much at all in that fight. And Gutierrez did look very good, don't get me wrong. He was able to chop down that leg. He was landing a lot of straight punches, good footwork, good feints, good movement, flying knees, a lot of kicks. And he doesn't really open up with the hands too much, but, sharp jabs, sharp straights, and, his kicks are just really good. But he can get backed up. I'm not really convinced with his takedown defense. He gets taken down easily against the cage. And his ground game is pretty subpar. He has a semi-threatening guard, but struggles with top pressure. And when he stands up, he gives his back, which is a no-no versus a guy like Durden, man. And Gutierrez, defense off of his back isn't the worst. I mean, he did survive a little while with a good grappler and Raoni Barcelos on top of him. I definitely think Durden could take him down, though. And it's going to come down to if Gutierrez can find his range, start picking at that leg, pot shot. before Durden can get that wrestling going and start wearing on Gutierrez. But I think the line is off, man. Durden is aggressive. He comes forward. He comes hard. He isn't going to sit on the outside like Morales. I see him getting in Gutierrez's face, making it a tough fight, and eventually getting it to the ground. And, I mean, when you look at it, man, I mean, Gutierrez, he's notoriously bad versus grapplers. I mean, he has losses to Raoni Barcelos, Jared Saunders, Timur Valiev, who wrestled him. Even Geraldo de Freitas was able to get him down a couple times. I just think Durden should be able to do it as well. I like his top game. His striking isn't the worst. I think his pressure and the ability to switch stances could help defend and jam some of those kicks. And I'm going to take Durden here to pull the upset, take the back in a scramble, or take the back when Gutierrez is trying to stand up at some point and finish the fight via submission or TKO. So I'm going with Cody Durden here. And up next, we have a really fun fight. I mean, we got Timur Valiev, a guy that a lot of people have been really hyped up on for a long time. And he's finally making his UFC debut. He's had a pretty good career outside of the UFC. He's 16-2. He's been regarded, as one of the best fighters outside the UFC for a while now. He did lose his MMA debut, but since then he's gotten 16-1. The one loss was a split decision to Chris Gutierrez, which was really controversial, and they did an automatic rematch, which he won the fight in the rematch. And, Valiev is a pretty good striker. He's very athletic. He's light on his feet, good blitz attacks, and he likes to throw a lot of, kicks on the outside, inside, outside, low kicks, round kicks to the body, to the head. Very fast with his punch combinations as well. Like, he'll go to the body with the straights, then upstairs with hooks. He slips and rips well. He'll dig to the body with hooks, nice check left hooks. He can pull counter with straight punches. Throws a lot of spinning stuff. He throws a lot of flying knees. And he does, play with his hands down, and that's caused him some issues in the past. In the pocket, he can be a little bit hittable. And if you can meet him in the middle with the shot, you could definitely hurt him a little bit. I've seen him dropped in fights before. But, very dynamic guy offensively. And he's never been finished. He's a Dagestani. I mean, he's going to be very tough to finish. 6 knockouts in his career. And, he's a high-level wrestler as well. Great level changes. He's good at setting him up with the hands, with the feints. And he runs through doubles very well. Great takedowns in the clinch. Good trips, good throws. And when he gets on top, he likes to take the back. Good control. Good front headlock position. And, he only has 2 submissions. He's definitely more about control. But, I've seen him taken down, but his takedown defense is scrambling is pretty elite. He has a very fun style to watch. Aggressive, great cardio. He's a flashy guy. And he should be a good addition to the division. But taking on Jamal Emmers, he is going to be moving up to 145 here. He is going to be giving up a little bit of size. He's going to have a pretty significant reach disadvantage here. He's going to be 4 inches shorter. And, Jamal Emmers did have a bad UFC debut where he lost that split decision to Giga Chikadze, in which, I actually thought he won that fight, but, the judges gave it to Chikadze, and he didn't fight smart there. But Emmers, he's a talented guy. Good pull counters, good head movement, very athletic, good punches, good kicks, really good right hand. Really nice straight right hand. He's, good with the jabs. He'll use the jabs to kind of pull shots and then pull counter with that straight right. Good uppercuts, overhands, good hooks, and he has good leg kicks as well. But the thing with Emmers, he floats his chin, he can be clipped, and I feel like Valiev is probably the better striker here. But Emmers, he's a strong grappler as well. He trains with guys like Darion Caldwell. He's a former college wrestler, and he's one of these guys that has good doubles, good body locks, can push guys against the cage, control them, and he's very slippery and explosive when you try to take him down yourself. So hard to take down, and he's good at when he gets on top, he can stay on top, land short shots, look for submissions. But I don't know. In this fight, I think it's going to be a tough fight for Jamal Emmers, because I think Valiev's speed and boxing is going to, turn Emmers back into a wrestler. And Emmers, he's enjoyed his striking lately in his fights, but in this one, I don't know. I think he's going to be uncomfortable with the slips, the speed, the boxing of Valiev. I think Valiev is going to have to deny some takedowns from Emmers, watch out for the straights, and I just don't think Emmers will be able to take down and control a guy like Valiev to win a decision, and Valiev may be even able to take down Emmers himself. If Emmers was like a jiu-jitsu ace or something and a wrestler, maybe. But, I think Emmers, I don't know. This is a tough fight, man. But I'm going to go with Timur Valiev here. Next year we got a fight that probably will be a pretty fun fight. Markus Perez, Eric Spicely. Perez, he just can't seem to find consistency in the UFC. He's traded wins and losses, and he lost his last fight, so he is due for a victory here. He was defeated by Wellington Turman in November, but he's a fun guy. He's flashy. He likes to be a showman in the cage. Uses like a lot of crazy techniques. He taunts, and even at the weigh-ins, we saw him with the Joker thing in the last weigh-ins, but he likes to fight on the outside, use a lot of kicks. He will throw a really nice rear leg body kicks, which, I think are going to be a big issue for Eric Spicely. His left body kick is nasty. It's really good. And Perez will throw some front kicks to the body, to the head. He'll switch stances, good straight left, good straight right. His straight left hand is probably better, and he spends more time in southpaw. Good jab, good left hook. He's good at feigning the jab, throwing an overhand left combination, and he has some nice elbows, some good step-in knees, and like I said, he'll throw a lot of wild attacks, like spinning back elbows, round kicks to the body, and the spinning heel kicks to the head. He'll throw, like lead elbows. He's at his best when he's confident. He's in the pocket, he's slipping and ripping, but sometimes he can allow fighters to, push him back as well, and he can almost look like he's running away at times. His awkward strikes put him off balance, and he can be countered and just look bad a little bit, look like maybe he's hurt even when he's not. But he'll invite a war, and when he knows he's behind, he'll definitely try to weasel rounds by playing to the judges a little bit. But he's a wild man. He has a good chin, and he's never been finished, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, opportunistic guy on the ground. And in the clinch, he's actually improved a lot. He's improving with his wrestling. He's improving with his defensive wrestling, with his defensive clinch work. And he's good at, he'll even pull guard, attack leg locks. He'll, attack Kimuras. He likes to try to hit switches and take the back to counter takedowns as well. And he was able to do that and take the back of Ian Heinisch. He even got an arm triangle from the bottom in that fight, which is a weird submission. Good front chokes, Darces, Peruvian neckties, but he was taken down in some fights, like versus Eric Anders. But like I said, his wrestling looked a lot better versus Wellington Turman. Perez, he's coming off that nice submission victory the last time he fought a guy similar to Eric Spicely's level, in my opinion, in Hernandez. So I feel like, this type of guy, Maluko should be able to beat. Maluko does have 6 submissions as well, but for Eric Spicely, he was able to work his way back to the UFC. He got cut in 2018, but came back, and he didn't get the win in his return, but was a decent performance. He was able to have a fight of the night with Duran win, but Spicely is a strange fighter, man. He's had limited success in the UFC, but he's had some good victories, and as a Spicely, he's just not that good, man. He has a decent jab, and he needs to try to stay long in this fight. Throw the 1-2 down the middle, throw some big hooks, uppercuts inside. But I don't know. He has some decent leg kicks, round kicks to the body. He was throwing some nice elbows versus Duran win, but it's just he allows guys to control the center of the octagon, back him up, and just has that habit of shelling up and just trying to keep a high guard and defend punches without moving his feet. And fighters are able to find holes in his guard and hit him to the head, dig to the body. He's just not very athletic. I will say, it looks like he's improved his mindset and toughness of late. He seems more willing to eat shots, try to give his own, and he isn't giving up anymore, it looks like. He did have a war with Duran win, and he was able to come back and, get a knockout after he got rocked against Kyle Magalhaes. Spicely, he has been finished 3 times by strikes, though. He is, susceptible to getting finished by strikes, and he has, finished 3 people by strikes as well, but he's not really a power guy. But he is a dangerous submission grappler if he can get it to the ground. He's trouble for a lot of guys. He doesn't have the greatest wrestling. He will use the single, the double leg against the cage, but just isn't very effective. He is pretty good at using the single leg to pull guard, attack the legs, or, try to attack from his full guard. And he's very good at sweeping. He's good at transitioning when he's on top. He'll attack submissions to open up passing opportunities, and he'll slice them out. He'll pound you out from there. Very good at taking the back. Good rear naked chokes. 7 submissions. He has been submitted one time for Sam Alvey, but that was kind of, a little fluky. He got hurt and then panic wrestled, got caught in a guillotine. But he does slow down in a lot of fights. He doesn't really have great cardio. He goes in there to finish fights. I mean, if he doesn't get it done early, he usually loses. He has finished 10 of his 12 wins in the first round. He does have 2 decision wins, but his record after fights past the first round is 2-4. And I just think Perez will win, man. He's going to use that left kick, his explosiveness, go forward. I think he's actually going to finish Eric Spicely with that left kick to the body. We've seen that happen with Gerald Meerschaert. And Perez, I mean, I think that he's not going to respect the striking of Spicely, so he's going to walk him down. He's going to make it a high-level, high-paced fight. Not high-level, but high-paced. Get a little crazy. Just keep the output on him. I think he's going to be able to back Spicely up. Just be the more athletic guy in there. I think if it goes to the ground, he has to be careful, but he's a good black belt himself, so I'm going with Maluko here. Now make sure we have a bantamweight fight. Ray Borg taking on Nathan Maness. I'm not 100% sure, but Ray Borg, he's returning, pretty soon. He did have another fight that got nixed a little bit, on the week of because of a family emergency, but he's been pretty active. I mean, this is going to be his 3rd fight of 2020, and he seems to be fighting at bantamweight now, which probably will help him fight more often. The issue with that is he hasn't really had the best success there. He's only 2-2 in the UFC at bantam, and he's still a young guy with a lot of room to grow, though, and his striking looks better than ever in his last match. I mean, he showed super fast hands. His jab looked good. He was coming forward behind the high guard, and he was countering with straights, with hooks. He was ripping the body, then coming up to the head. His combinations look super fast, super sharp. His head movement looked good, and he looked really good in his last fight on the feet. But he did get a bit of his own medicine. He, was the smaller guy, and he was controlled a little bit, taken down. And, he was able to show hard scrambling ability, and he continued to return to his feet. But he was facing an elite wrestler in Ricky Simone, and in this matchup, he definitely should have the better grappler, in my opinion. He's an elite wrestler himself, very explosive. Everyone knows, he has great double legs, great scrambler, really nice singles, good chain wrestling, very good at taking the back, and he's really good in the transitions. He's good at getting slammed double legs, and on top, he throws a lot of ground and pound. He's very active. He has pretty good arm triangles, rear naked chokes, really good gas tank. And for Nathan Maness, I mean, he's getting a huge opportunity here. He's facing a former title challenger. A win would get him, right on the mix in the division. And he's a big 135er. He's fought at 145s. He's even fought at 155s. And he's going to be 5'10". Borg is only 5'4". He's going to have a 9-inch reach advantage. But he's 11-1, and he's a striker. He stands tall. He tries to stay loose and counter. Pretty light on his feet. He'll shoot the jab out there. He throws heavy punches. He'll leap in with lead hooks, uppercuts. Really nasty 2 right down the pipe. He has really nice straight punches, and he has really big power in his straights. I mean, 1-punch knockout power. He could switch stances, and he'll throw some nice body kicks, some nice head kicks. He does have a lot of issues with the striking, though. He gives big reactions to feints. When he gets hit, he can shell up, and he gets up the center, and he'll back himself up to the cage just looking for a one-shot counter. He is a hittable guy, and due to the fact that he stands tall, people can target the body. He was hit with a side kick to the liver against Taylor Lapilus and crumbled, got finished. That was his only career loss, though, and he does have 4 knockouts himself. And he will look to mix it up and wrestle, and you could tell he is obviously very confident in his striking or in his grappling, the way that he strikes, because stands really tall, throws a lot of kicks, so he's not worried about getting taken down. And I've seen him hit some double legs, but on top he doesn't look dangerous. I mean, he would just control, win the round. I've seen him hit a Darce choke against a low-level guy, but that's his only submission win. And I haven't really seen him defend wrestling much. The one time I did see him counter a takedown with the guillotine, and he was able to defend that takedown. But, I feel like the way that he stands tall and backs himself up to the cage with a guy like Borg, who's a shorter, great wrestler that's really explosive getting in, I think that Borg may be able to take him down. But I think this is kind of an easy fight for Borg from what I see. Avoid the power, which Borg already has a great chin, and he's way faster than this guy. He should win. I mean, I've seen Maness drop to the body, and we could see that again here versus Borg. I really believe that. I mean, some of those body shots he landed on Ricky Simone were vicious, and Borg is going to have the way faster footwork, hand speed. I think he should be able to get level change, get takedowns after he establishes some striking. I don't think Maness will be able to take him down, and I think Borg should win this fight all day. I mean, Maness, he's training in he's fighting in the Kentucky regional scene. He did fight TKO, beat guys like Jesse Arnett. That's a decent win. And but another thing that I saw was that he was posting a couple weeks ago that he was working 13-hour days in construction, and he was thinking about quitting the sport, and everything's really tough for him. And so I'm not sure, man. I think that Borg is going to take him out, man. This is going to be his opportunity to get in the UFC. Good for him. Maybe he could get some wins, but I don't think he's going to beat Ray Borg. Man, up next here, this could be a great fight. Ed Herman, Gerald Meerschaert. This could be fight of the night right here. Both these guys are finishers. And Meerschaert, he's looking to get right back on the horse. He had that disappointed effort in his last fight. He got knocked out in like a minute and 30 seconds by Ian Heinisch. And he's moving up to light heavyweight. He's coming back in only 6 weeks after that knockout. And that's definitely concerning to me, especially against a hittable guy, or especially with a hittable guy like Meerschaert. And Ed Herman, he's looked good of late. He's riding a 2-fight winning streak, and he's performed in his last 3 fights surprisingly well. I mean, he still has that desire, and he's just a tough-ass dude, and he's been in the UFC for 14 and a half years. I mean, he has to be one of the longest tenure fighters in UFC history. Herman, I mean, he may not be the most athletic guy, and he may not even be as athletic as when he first joined the UFC, but he definitely still has something left. His striking is not bad at all. He hits hard, good counter-punching, he could take a shot. He usually has to get hit a bit to get started, but I actually rate him as the better striker in this matchup. He has a stiff jab. He was throwing a nice jab to low kick or left hook to low kick combination in his last fight against Ibragimov, and he was throwing some heavy low kicks in that fight. He has a nice straight right hand and really nice left hook overhand right combination. Vice versa, he'll switch it up. He'll throw the the overhand right first or the left hook first. He'll attack the body as well with the hook. He'll switch up the placement of the punch. He throws a lot of volume. He walks you down, and his defense isn't very good, but, I mean, he has a hell of a chin. He doesn't mind getting hit, and it looked like he kind of demoralized Kadis Ibragimov a little bit by just eating the shots. His counterpunching is pretty dangerous. Even if you hit him, he's going to come back with a few more with some short hooks with some overhands, and he makes guys hesitant to throw combinations at him. We saw that in his last fight. We saw that against John Vellante as well. Herman, he only has 7 TKOs, but he's definitely going to be the bigger power guy here, and he has a hell of a chin, like I said. He's only been finished twice by strikes. He's also a good submission grappler. He's an original Team Quest guy, good takedown defense, and in the clinch, he's nasty, man. He has really good knees, good elbows. We saw him finish Pat Cummins with a big clinch knee. In his last fight, he was really staying busy in the clinch. He was framing, throwing hard elbows, big knees, keeping the volume high even when he had his back pressed against the cage. He'll dig strong underhooks as well when he can get the control wrist, throw elbows, dirty box. He was able to bust Ibragimov up in the clinch, man. Really dominated that fight. He isn't a super active seeker of the takedown in recent years, but the thing is, with this fight, GM3 is a guy who has notoriously bad takedown defense, and if Ed Herman wanted to, I think he could take him down, and maybe it would be smart to get on top and control a little bit. Herman is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and maybe he would feel like he can avoid the submission, keep the top control, and steal rounds or bank rounds late if they're close with the striking with that. He does throw some heavy ground and pound, and ultimately, though, I think Herman will probably just want to stand and bang. When fighters do take down Herman, it's usually off him throwing a kick. We have seen Herman dominated on the mat a few times, but most recently against Seabay Dalloway, he was taken down by Ibragimov, but he was able to attack with the elbow submissions off his back, and he got up pretty quickly. He does counter takedowns with a good guillotine. He'll attack in his guard, and he will attack the legs as well. Pretty good leg locks. He has 13 submissions. He has been submitted 6 times, but when you go back and look at some of the fighters who have submitted at Herman, I mean, they're a legend in the game. Damian Maia, Jacare Souza, Hitman Misaki, Joe Dirksen. I mean, those are some elite ground guys. Overall, Herman, he's a veteran. He has a very solid, well-rounded, workman-like game. His cardio is pretty good. He's tough. He's durable. And he'll never look for a way out. He's a stiff test for a lot of guys. And looking at this fight, I don't know, man. I like Ed Herman here. Gerald, he's moving up to 205. He just got knocked out recently, and he's facing a guy that hits pretty hard in Ed. And he's going to be, looking to keep the range with his long punches and try to attack the body on the feet. And, maybe catch a head kick. I don't know. But with the hands, I just think Ed is the better boxer. I don't think Gerald is going to be able to take him down. I think Ed has the faster hands as well. Gerald is very slow, man. And Ed hits harder to me. He's going to be looking for those low kicks. I think Herman, if he's struggling with the range, he should be the bigger guy as well. He should be able to push Gerald against the fence, work in the clinch. If he wants to get on top, it's dangerous, but he's a black belt. I think we may be able to see him get a couple takedowns, some top control. He throws more volume. Both guys are slow starters, and they pick it up as the fight goes on. They kind of rely on wearing on their opponents, getting late finishes. And Herman, he's been training for months for Dong Jung, and he's going to be ready to rock. GM3 is coming back after a bad knockout, and there's no way he's been training much. And another thing I noticed is Ed Herman's corner is very loud and animated. That can maybe sway the judges. And also, just looking at GM3's record, man, it just isn't very impressive. The fighters he's beat are inexperienced fighters with low amount of fights. He just has much more experience than most of the guys that he beats. Like, look at Joe Giolotti, 8 fights. Ryan James, 10 fights. Eric Spicely, 12 fights. Oscar Pihota, 12 fights. Trevin Giles, 12 fights. Duran wins 7 fights. I mean, that's not that many fights, and that's I'm adding it after he already fought him. So some of those guys didn't even have that amount of fights when he fought them. And Herman has 38 fights, and I still think Ed has enough to beat a fighter like GM3. Give me Ed Herman here, man, to get a knockout at some point in this fight. Up next here, this is a good fight. I like the matchmaking here because I do like Jonathan Martinez a lot, and he's set to make his return. He's coming back after that really controversial loss against Andre Ewell. Most everyone felt Martinez deserved the win, and if the judges would have given that to him, he would be riding a 3-fight win streak right now, but instead he's 2-2 in the UFC, so he needs a win here, and he's probably going to be very hungry, pissed off to try to get in here and get a win. And he's a rangy southpaw, very good kicks. He's a quick guy, good movement and feint, throws a really nice low calf kicks, really nice rear leg front kicks to the body, to the head, good round kicks. And in his fight with Pingwan Liu, he landed that nasty front knee that shut him off. He's, getting better with his hands. He's improved his jab. He has a nice counter right hook. He'll throw some counter straights, overhand lefts. And his hands looked pretty fast versus Andre Ewell. He was throwing some nice counter combinations. And his defense is good. He walks fighters down with a high guard. He has a good chin. And he's never been finished before. He's also not a power guy with the hands, but, his creative striking makes him dangerous. He has 5 knockouts, and he's a pretty solid grappler as well. I mean, he was able to control Andre Sukumtath in the clinch in short notice, showed really good scrambling ability against Luigi Burin, and he wasn't able to stop the takedowns of Burin, but, hit multiple sweeps on top. He was threatening with submissions. He had pretty good ground and pound, and, he has good rear naked chokes, good arm bars, and he isn't a huge submission threat, but, he has to be ready here to defend the takedown, sweep, or, counter with knees, with the uppercuts, try to make Saenz pay for the takedown attempts. But I would say Martinez's best trait is his cardio, his heart, and that's going to be, that's going to pay big dividends in a fight like this against an older guy like Frankie Saenz. Frankie Saenz, he's coming in here after a year and a half off. I'm not sure why he's taking so much time off, but he said he feels like this is his UFC debut again, things like that. I mean, I don't know, man. He's been training with guys like Korean Zombie, Henry Cejudo, so you have to respect him, but 39 years of age for a bantamweight, that's very worrying. He is a grinder, and his striking isn't the worst. He has decent footwork, good jab, good low kicks, good straights, good overhand rights. He'll throw an overhand right, left hook combination. And, he will pull counter a little bit with the straight right hand, but can be very predictable with the striking. And he holds his hands down. Fighters can catch him with big counters. He will throw a nice left hook to the body, to a right hook to the head. And, good uppercut left hook. But he's just very chinny, man. He doesn't take shots well. He got finished by Marlon Vera in his last fight. He gets wobbled in a lot of fights. I mean, he does do a good job of surviving at times. And he just has that style of darting in, darting out, which isn't the best from a defensive standpoint. He has been a decision fighter over his career. Never had a finish in the UFC. And he has been finished 3 times by strikes as well. So very kind of a chinny guy. He is a solid grappler, former college wrestler. Good in the clinch, good control against the fence, hard knees to the legs, to the body, nice elbows. Good in the Muay Thai plum as well. He'll kind of throw some punches, crash the distance, finish in that Muay Thai plum, and end the combinations with some nice knees, big elbows. He was able to drop Augusto Mendes with a clinch elbow. His takedown defense is good as well. If you do take him down, he's hard to hold down. He proved that in the Merab Dvalishvili fight. He was able to get up time and time again. And he does have a solid double leg himself. He'll attack with single legs. He'll duck under and try to take the back from standing. But on top, he's more about control. He doesn't attempt submissions very much. Doesn't throw a lot of big ground and pound. He does have 2 submissions. And his cardio is a little bit questionable as well. He's the older guy. I'm a Frankie Saenz fan. I mean, he's an OG. But I think he's going to lose to the young lion here. I mean, Saenz needs to wrestle heavy, try to bully Martinez in the clinch, constantly try to make it a dirty inside fight. His chin is gone, though, and he's going to be way slower than Martinez. I think maybe early he may get a couple of takedowns, but Martinez is very, very lively now. He's young. He's going to scramble back to his feet. He's going to be, making Saenz work. He's going to get him tired, and I just think he's going to catch him coming in with a knee or catch him to the body, hurt him, and take him out, man. I think that he's going to finish Frankie Saenz. And I like Jonathan Martinez here. I think he's a good fighter, and I think he's going to get Frankie Saenz out of here. Up next here we have Kevin Holland, Trevin Giles. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this fight because I have a pretty clear winner here, and it's not really because of the, inside the cage. Obviously, it has something to do with inside the cage as well and the skill set, but it's more to do with Trevin Giles and just, I don't know, man. I feel like he's regressed during his career recently because of outside of the cage duties, because he's became a police officer full time. He's, said in interviews that he hasn't been able to train even at all at certain times in recent months, and he's just hasn't improved in my opinion. And he's very low volume. He does have a fast twitch muscle. I will say his last fight he did kind of open up a little bit more through more wild shots, but he's a guy that likes to play the range game. He's a very good guy with the straights. He has good straight right hand down the middle, good low calf kicks. But in this fight with Kevin Holland, he's going to be at a reach disadvantage. He likes to throw that body kick up the middle, the front kick to the body. I feel like Holland is just going to be better at range. He's going to be longer, has more weapons, throws more volume. The only thing I see Trevin Giles potentially being able to do here is get takedowns and just control on top to a decision victory. But Kevin Holland isn't that type of guy, man. Kevin Holland is a guy that, scrambly. He's not just going to, concede bottom position. He's going to attack submissions of his own. And, I mean, when you look at it, I've seen Trevin Giles dropped. I've seen Trevin Giles knocked out before. I've seen him submitted. Or not knocked out, but I've seen him dropped. I've seen him submitted. And Kevin Holland, he has a great chin. He has been submitted before, but I just don't think a guy like Trevin Giles is going to be able to submit him. So if they stay on the feet, I think that Kevin has the better striking, the more weapons. He could potentially knock out Trevin Giles. Throws way more volume. And on the ground, I just think Holland is better. I think he has better jiu-jitsu. I am a little nervous if Giles just takes him down and starts throwing vicious ground and pound. Maybe he could hurt Kevin a little bit, but in his last fight, he struggled with the 70-pounder on 1 day notice. I mean, he could have lost that fight, and that's a little bit questionable. I know Holland is a smaller guy, but if you're going to split decision with a guy that's getting the call on 1 day notice, I don't know. I can't pick him. I'm going to pick Kevin Holland. And, yeah. Oh, man, this is a great fight. Rematch, Bobby Green, Lando Vannata. First fight was a draw. It was a Fight of the Year candidate. And, man, I don't think it's going to be much different here. I mean, both these guys, when you look at them, I don't think they've really changed their styles at all. Bobby Green, some people say, like, oh, he looked terrible in his last fight, even though he got the win versus Clay Guida. But in my opinion, man, Bobby Green fights to the level of his competition. When there's a guy that isn't on his level, he'll make the fight close. When there's a guy that's way better, like Jakar Close, even when he fought Francisco Trinaldo, he'll step up to their level and compete with them at that frequency as well. So I just think he's just one of those type of guys. And in the first fight was phenomenal, man. I mean, Lando Vannata was just a very explosive, dangerous guy in the first round. He was darting in with these big combinations, these big blitz attacks. He's just so dangerous, man, with the counter punches. He's very fast twitch. And against a guy like Bobby Green, who holds his hands low, Lando has a chance to land some of that crazy stuff. He was also attacking the legs of Bobby effectively as well, which I think he's going to try to do again here. But over time, Bobby Green was, in my opinion, I thought he won that fight. I thought he won 2 rounds, and the first round was a 9-9 because of that illegal knee. And, I mean, Bobby just found his range with the boxing and just started picking him apart, man. He was landing the jab. He was switching stances. He was landing big shots, big counters, and really poured the pressure on Lando. Lando got tired. And that's this fight, man. It's a battle of power, flash versus volume. And Lando was trying to pot shot him, catch big counters in between the combinations, in between the longer strikes of Bobby Green, the longer attacks. And Bobby was just putting it together with the jabs, with the straight punches, with the hooks, with the boxing, and just picking apart Lando. And really, at the end of the fight, I thought Bobby was taking over. That last combination really hurt Lando Vannata really badly. And, man, I just don't know. I don't think this fight is going to be much different. Lando was shooting for takedowns. He couldn't control Bobby Green on the ground. I think the fight's going to be the same. I think early on, Bobby has to be very careful. He has to be weary of the blitz, the athleticism of Lando, not get hit with anything crazy. But I think that his boxing is better. I think that Lando with the hands down really, opens up that jab for Bobby. I think Bobby's going to be landing at a high clip as well. And it's just going to be a battle of attrition, man. The first time I picked Bobby Green, and he was a big underdog. This time Bobby Green's an underdog again. The first fight was a draw. I'm just going to pick the underdog again. I'm just going to pick Bobby Green. I'm going to say the volume, the cardio, the pace, the pressure beats the power and the flashiness, the dynamism. So I'm going to go with Bobby Green by decision. Up next here we have a popular dog pick for a lot of people, Randy Brown taking on Vicente Luque. And I get why a lot of people like Randy Brown. I've actually picked Randy Brown as an underdog in the last few fights. If you've watched my channel, I mean, I'm a fan of Randy Brown striking. Very clean striking. I mean, those kicks up the middle, the straight punches, the counters, the speed that he has is all very, very impressive. He's a very athletic guy. He's on the outside, very dangerous for a guy like Luque who's hittable and who likes to brawl because he's a finesse guy. But the thing about it is, Randy, I do think on the outside, he's going to have success with those kicks, with the leg kicks, with the front kicks up the middle, with the straight shots. But he gets backed up and he usually only throws like 1 or 2 at a time. And I feel like Luque with the high guard is just going to be able to eat those shots to the body, probably walk him down, make it a close quarters fight. And I think that if they get inside, I think that Luque with the hands is just going to be more impactful when he has Randy Brown against the cage. He does have to be very careful at all times on the feet, not to get hit with something as he's coming in, or flash with the knee, flash with the kick, and knocked out. Because Randy Brown is very dangerous. I mean, we saw him kind of get dominated in that first round against Warlley Alves. Alves was able to, jam his kick, take him down, and controlled him on top, took his back, almost choked him out, and had a very dominant first round on the ground against Randy Brown. But we saw Randy in the second round flash Warlley with the knee, hurt him. Warlley panic wrestled right into a triangle. Randy locked it up and submitted him. But I don't know, man. I mean, that fight as well kind of made me lean towards Vicente Luque, is because Randy Brown in that first round, Worley was able to back him up, take him down off the kick, and dominate him on the ground. Took his back, almost choked him out. I think Luque is a lot better on the ground than a guy like Worley Alves. He's a black belt himself. And if he's struggling with the range and Randy Brown is kind of lighting him up or hurting him with the kicks, with the straight punches, with the flashy striking, I think Luque always has it in his back pocket to get the fight to the ground and dominate Randy on the mat. I mean, Randy isn't the worst guy on the ground. He, has some takedowns of his own. Don't see him being able to take down a guy like Vicente Luque, and if he does, I think Luque will be able to get back to his feet fairly easily or sweep or submit. But I don't know. Randy Brown just has to prove it to me, man. He hasn't fought anyone really of note that he's defeated. I mean, Worley Alves, Brian Barberena. And Barberena, that's a good win. I don't want to discredit that, but that was coming off the war with the Vicente Luque, and I think that had a lot to do with the way Barberena looked in that fight. And Barberena is a good matchup for a guy like Randy Brown because he's a boxer who's not that athletic, so Randy was able to keep him on the outside and kind of finesse him and dominate him. And Brian Barberena isn't a wrestler. He isn't a guy that could take it to the ground. He isn't an athletic guy like Luque that's explosive, that can close that distance, throw in combination, has huge power. I think that's going to be the difference, man. I think that Luque is going to be able to walk down, kind of eat the shots that that Randy Brown throws, and I think he's going to be able to land the more impactful shots when they get up against the cage near the fence. And I think if Randy is having the more success on the feet, he could take him down and submit him as well. I mean, the fact that Worley took his back, almost submitted him like that, kind of gave me a lot of concern for Randy Brown if Vicente Luque gets on top of him here. So I'm going to go with Luque via TKO or submission. I think he's going to be able to get it done. Next we have a fight that got got set up on short notice here. Joanne Calderwood, she's stepping in. She's fighting Jennifer Maia. Man, living up to her name, the bad mofo. I mean, she already had the title shot locked up, but doesn't give a fuck. She's going to come in here, fight Jennifer Maia. And, I mean, I feel like this is a good matchup for JoJo, to be honest with you. Maia, she's a flat-footed boxer that likes to mix in some takedowns sometimes, some cage control time. But she's shorter. She's not going to have the range against a girl like JoJo, especially someone that throws kicks like JoJo. I think that, Jennifer is going to be coming up short. I think she's going to be coming very obvious with her combinations. And I think Calderwood is going to be throwing a lot of kicks, leg kicks, body kicks, a lot of high volume striking. She's going to be willing to trade with her. I think she just has the better stand-up overall. I think that she has the higher motor as well. Like, I think she's going to be more willing to exchange, more willing to throw a high volume in there. And she wants it. I mean, she's coming in here risking the title shot. She's not going in there to lose at all. She's also improved her grappling a lot since going to Syndicate MMA. I feel like Maia, maybe back in the day, would have been able to win this fight with a cage stalling, kind of grappling heavy type of game. But now, I don't know. I don't think she's going to be able to take down Joanne that easily. I don't think she's going to be able to control her on the ground. Really, JoJo just has to worry about that right hand. I mean, that's the bread and butter for Maia. Maia will throw the jab, 1-2. She'll mix in some uppercuts. She's good at slipping and throwing the straight right hand. That's really it. She doesn't throw a ton of volume. She's flat-footed. She doesn't move her head very much. Even Roxy was having some success with straight punches in their matchup. Maia also tends to start very slow in a lot of her fights. I just think the high volume of shots, the variation of shots that Joanne Calderwood has is going to be the difference here. Because both these girls are kind of flat-footed. They like to meet in the middle and trade. But I just think JoJo has more weapons. She's more dangerous. She throws more volume. She's probably a little bit more athletic here. So I got to go with JoJo Calderwood. I think she's going to be able to get in there, get the victory, and defeat Jennifer Maia. And up next, we got the main event. It's a new main event. The original one was supposed to be Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana, and unfortunately Aldana got COVID, so now it's going to be Edmen Shahbazyan taking on Derek Brunson. This is only going to be a 3-round main event, but Man, this is a good fight. Obviously, it's the test for Edmen Shahbazyan. He's kind of getting that fast track. It seems like when guys fight Derek Brunson, if they win, they get a title shot. They get a number one contenders fight. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Edmen fights here. But Edmen, 11-0. He's finished almost every guy that he's fought, 10 out of 11. Really dominated, taking a lot of guys out early. And he's really improved. He's improved his boxing, really nice combinations, really nice 1-2 double jabs. He'll fake the jab, throw the two. And in his fight with Brad Tavares, he faked the jab, came with the high kick, really nasty. Inside, he throws some nice, powerful hooks. And he does something that's pretty interesting that I kind of noticed. He likes to grab behind the head of his opponent and throw punches with the other hand. And it increases the power. And he'll also kind of move his opponent's head to where he wants it and use that to set up other shots. The only negative on the feet maybe is he does tend to lower his hands when he's backing up, and against Brunson, a guy that blitzes in, throws long punches, maybe he could get caught with that. And Brunson, he fights in two styles. He tries to stick and move, but obviously he's more famous for those bursts, those big blitz attacks, and if he lands that left hand, he could knock you out cold. He throws a lot of naked attacks at times, though. Just stays in the same spot without moving his feet after he throws them, and he gets hit clean because of that. Fighters obviously catch him as he blitzes in wildly as well. Brunson, he usually only fights in straight lines, very, linear guy. He's flat-footed, and when fighters get inside or pressure him, he just tries to clinch up with them. He's not comfortable in the pocket. He is very strong. He's a good wrestler, obviously. Both guys can wrestle. Edmen, I think, has a better jiu-jitsu, and he does a good job of blending his striking with his grappling. He is, he showed his grappling against Darren Stewart, where he was able to kind of dominate there for 2 rounds with the mat returns, with the control. He was able to land some big Travis Brown type elbows when who was that? I can't remember who that was, but Charles Byrd. When Charles Byrd tried to take him down, he landed those shots. But Brunson is going to be the best wrestler he's ever fought. Brunson's strong in the clinch and nice body lock, good outside trip. I do kind of imagine that Brunson's game plan here is going to be try to blitz in, clinch up, try to keep a heavy wrestling pace with Edmen, hit that outside trip, because we did see in the one fight that Edmen really grappled heavy against Darren Stewart, he did kind of get tired in that fight. He gassed out in the 3rd round. So Brunson, maybe he sees that and says, I'm going to push a heavy wrestling pace. I'm going to try to, get this guy against the cage, hit that body lock trip, control him on top, mat return him, make him work, make him scramble, and win the fight that way. Or obviously Brunson always has that chance to catch a blitz attack, knock him out with that left hand. He obviously has dynamite in that left hand, but on the feet, I just think Edmen has way better footwork. He's much less flat-footed. He sets things up really well with the fakes, the feints, with the fake jabs, with the double jabs. He has really fluid footwork, good movement. The way that he set that head kick up was nasty. Inside, I really like the way that he does that thing with the, where he moves the guy's head, positions it with the other hand. He should be able to come in here and get the knockout early on. That's what Brunson's Achilles heel has been. I just don't think Brunson, with the footwork that he has, with the way that he strikes, I don't think that he's going to be able to get inside and implement a grappling game with Edmen. I think that, I just don't see him being able to do that. He was able to do that against a guy like Ian Heinisch, but Ian Heinisch is not Edmen Shahbazyan, man. I think Edmen is probably going to get a 1st round knockout. Maybe it'll be a 2nd round knockout, but I think it'll probably be in the 1st round. Brunson, if he tries to fight smart and stay on the outside and stick and move, I think that he'll get knocked out. If he's wild, I think he'll get knocked out. I really think Edmen will win this fight. I'm pretty confident. He's actually going to be my most confident pick on the card here. So Edmen Shahbazyan, 1st round knockout. And for my parlay of the week this week, it's going to be Ray Borg and Jonathan Martinez. And the underdog of the week is going to be Cody Durden. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll be hearing from you guys. I'll talk to you guys later this week. And hopefully you guys all join me then. Yep, later.